My heart of hearts, banish my delusion. Steal into my heart of hearts, banish my delusion. Well, a happy birthday to everyone today. This is January 5th, and although it's a new year, 2022, in 1893 on this day, Paramhansa Yogananda was born in India. And throughout Ananda worldwide, we celebrate his birth as a life-changing event for us personally and for millions of people who, through his autobiography of a Yogi, have had their lives uplifted and changed in many different ways. I'm speaking to you from the Blue Lotus Temple here in Bothell, Washington, just north of Seattle. And tonight we're going to have our annual celebration of Yogananda's birth, as well as on Sunday at 10 a.m. here we'll have a pageantry family service. But tonight we'll have a special uplifting service with talks and various things, music and chanting in celebration. That'll be at 7 p.m. It's live streamed on our website or on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. So just a few words in celebration and to honor Yogananda's birth. As some of you who follow this broadcast weekdays at noon and then on recordings will know that in my broadcasts I've been studying chapter 5 of the Gospel of Mark throughout December. And this study has revitalized, made dynamic to my mind, just how revolutionary were the changes that Jesus, in effect, instituted and brought to the Jews of his time, and later, by extension, of course, to mostly the Western world in the decades and centuries that followed. But what it brought to my mind is related to how Yogananda described his work in his lifetime in the 20th century. He called it a new dispensation. And I realize in reflection, historically and spiritually, Jesus too offered a new covenant, as the Christians put it, a new dispensation. How Buddha offered a new dispensation to people who were to become his. At the Last Supper in the Gospel of John, Jesus, in his words, renders on a kind of accounting. He basically prays to the Father, prays to God, and says, "You have sent to me these disciples, and I have taught them. I have done everything you've asked of me." But in the phraseology, the grammar, and the words that Jesus uses, it makes it quite clear that those disciples who came to Jesus were sent to Jesus by their karma, by God. And this is the teaching in India, that all the great ones, the avatars, but I suppose all saints, but anyway, in speaking of the saviors of humanity that come in age to age, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those souls who are attracted to them to be uplifted are sent to that avatar, as it were. There's some kind of a spiritual connection. And when Yogananda was asked why he put so much emphasis on the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Krishna, especially in the Bhagavad Gita and also in the Yoga Sutras, he said simply, it was Babaji's wish that I do so. And so there is a very special connection here between Yogananda's life and teachings and the life and teachings of Jesus Christ and Krishna. And so Yogananda brought a new dispensation. And just as Jesus and his disciples very quickly revolutionized the laws of Moses given to them, suspending the great symbol of the covenant, the old covenant, which was that of circumcision, changing even the day of the Sabbath. I mean, those alone were huge, and then all the dietary laws. So Yogananda has brought to the world, for those who are in tune with him, who have been sent to him, a complete new understanding of who Jesus was, of who Krishna was, who all the great ones, in fact, are. Both personal, yes, I am the way, the life, and so on, as Jesus said, but also universalized, as this is the avatara, the descent of God consciousness through the living souls of those who have achieved that consciousness in a past life, down through the ages. And so I think part of the connection between Krishna, Jesus, and Yogananda have to do in no small way with the teaching of all three, emphasizing the need for a guru. That's what I want to say today in celebration of Yogananda, is the upholding of the teaching that the soul who dynamically, dedicatedly, sincerely wants to find freedom, they need a guru, a God-realized Sat-Guru, in order to achieve that final goal. How that is, why that is, well, I could come up with some reasons, but that it is a teaching. And that's what I would like to honor in today's sharing with you. And as we will honor here this evening at 7 p.m. and then again on Sunday at 10 a.m. is the teaching. Just as Krishna's teachings, the disciples down through the centuries tend to change things. Yogananda himself said, when I return in 200 years, I probably won't recognize my teachings. Well, be that as it may, we all do the best we can. But I think in this age of Dwapara Yuga, the one facet of Yogananda's teachings that I see we have difficulty, or that people at large have difficulty accepting, is that of discipleship. In Jesus' time, they were more or less ready, obviously, by the success of the mission, to recognize Jesus as their Savior, as it was later put in centuries later. But the one part of Jesus' teaching that seems to have been put to the side was that of renunciation. Take no thought of the morrow, as Jesus put it. Instead, being infused into Greek and Roman culture, which were very power-centric and law-centric, as was the Jewish culture at that same time, that the idea of being a wandering sadhu, as St. Francis and a few other great Christians gave their all to those teachings. For the most part, Christians as a body have not. And I could go on, as I will tonight when I give a longer talk, about how the same happened in Buddhism and the same happened in Hinduism. That's why we need the avatar. We need the descent from age to age to renew and reinvigorate and redirect the teachings of those sincere souls for whom those teachings are given. And so we honor and are eternally grateful in our hearts for that avatara in the form of Yogananda, sent by the lineage of Jesus Christ and Babaji and Krishna and Lahiri Mahashai and Swami Sri Yukteswar. So the opportunity to receive, to as many as will receive this teaching, this great master and his teachings and living presence, will be given the power to become the sons of God. This is the eternal promise. Happy birthday and blessings of the birthday to all.